Alright, I'm back again to show some more features of the guides. I have all the guides turned on once again, and I just wanted to go over some of the things that you'll find in the guide package. Um, this is the typical guide package for any face component. It has this, which is reference geometry, and that shows the basic form of the face, so you have a basic idea of where things should go as you're fitting. Um, Usually the first thing I turn off is the reference geo. So if I come over here to the UI, you can find the reference geo pretty easily. Just turn the visibility off. And now you have the nice clean surface. One of the things that I wanted to show is how moving the guide can change the build. So the lip being the most complicated component in the entire face rig, because it's going to have the most change in number of controls of any part of the face, I wanted to show how it's fit procedurally. Right now, this lip has been fit procedurally based on animation curve weights and a bunch of other different things. The most important part of the fitting comes from the projection of weighting onto the face, and then the projection of the weighting onto curves. And the curves I kind of showcased in the last video. I'm just going to turn everything off really quick and turn those volume curves back on so I can show them a bit easier. Once again, I have to get rid of the mouth geometry. Okay, here we go. So these are the curves, the lip curves, and they've mostly been placed using controls, which I showed in the last video, and those are guide controls. You're actually seeing guide controls for both the guide and the lip. So these guides are actually for the controls, and those guides are in the lip rig, the one that animation is going to see. I'm just going to go ahead and turn those off, turn everything in the lip rig off. So we're just seeing the guides. So the first way I like to get the guide into place, and I'll probably want to turn on the maybe the mesh that is used to project the weights on too. And that is actually called, it should be called project, oh right, I'm in the wrong component. It's called projection mesh. I'm going to turn that on. Now what you'll see with the projection mesh, and of course the slide geo for some reason came on too, and then the base geo. So I still have quite a bit things to work out, issues to work out with that, but we should just see projection mesh come up. So I think some of my tagging has been messed up, but I'll get that sorted. So what we have here are the two projection meshes. One is going to project to the upper lip, one is going to project to the lower lip, and if we set this onto, you can actually see how I have it set up. So it's basically the edge here is going to come to the corner of the lip, and you are really only interested in projecting lip weights on from like that corner to that corner. And then to control volume, like I was talking about in the last video, I actually have the curves in there, the volume curves, and they are actually getting projection weights from these projection geo also. Now the lip is procedural in that what's going to happen is those controls that you saw before, those are all going to be fit based on weighting. So whatever area of the lip has the most weight for that control, that's where the control is going to go. It's going to go into the bounding box of kind of like a weight-based geo. Without the curves, what happens is it places these controls all over the lips based on the weighting, and it looks pretty good, but the controls aren't really in a very accurate location. So with the volume curves, what we do is once we do the weighting for the volume curves, we actually take those controls and reposition them based on the volume curves. And because the volume curve is a finite line, in space or curve in space, it's going to be a much smaller area where those controls can go, and so it actually is going to be a much more accurate placement. And so I'd just like to show with this basic idea of the curve is going to be used as placement for the lip. I'd like to do a rebuild really quickly and just show what happens. Let's pretend like we moved geometry, we moved everything, and now we're going to see an update. And I'm just going to add a few more controls. And that should take not very long. So, sorry. And you notice I'm actually only building the lip right now. I have other components in the face, and I'm saving out guides just for what appears to be just the lip. But what's happening is those guides are actually being appended onto a file that contains all of the guides. So I can go in and I can just build the lip, and it only saves, it seems like it's only saving guides for that lip, but it's actually retaining all the information for all the other guides that haven't been built, and then it's just adding the guide information for the lips on top of that. So you see here there's quite a few more controls, and they're all lined up with that curve, and they've been procedurally placed. And if you need more control, you just add. Now the geometry for this face is terrible, so it's not going to get the projection weights very well. So as soon as we have some cleaner geometry with more spans, you're going to see a much nicer fall off. You can kind of see it here because this curve has it has more room to work kind of and project the weights. Like you get a much nicer shape. The same with the master lip. And you notice like the bigger the control is, it controls the smaller curves and everything else. So you see that here. The round controls are slide controls. They also control curling, and then the pluses are basically just like you can move them anywhere in space. And all of this weighting is procedural. All of the placement is procedural. So it can all be adjusted. Like right now, this is very basic. It's just thrown in. There's no hand weighting. There's no even the anima curve weights that have been projected on aren't. They haven't been tweaked at all. So a lot of things can be done to make this look better. I'm not happy with the icons. They were very temporary, but you can see they crowd the face. There's almost no way that you can animate this and get a good silhouette and see what's actually going on with the face. So what's probably going to happen is we're probably going to have to work with animation to get better icons for the controls, and I think we can get it looking much nicer, much less cluttered, and maybe get rid of some of these extra controls, figure out a way to kind of combine these two, combine the slide with these matrix controls. You can move anywhere. Yeah, so that's the lip.